what do we have planned for the course? We are going to start with, first of all, question comes up a lot. You do not need finance background and finance knowledge to learn about venture investments in private companies. We will talk about numbers throughout the course here and there, but you don't have to be a finance expert for it at all. So we're going to start with just an introduction to what are private markets, what kind of companies are a fit for getting venture investing, how that's evolving, what are all the different ways that they raise capital, and what are all the different vehicles that we have as investors to participate in that. Most people, when they think of venture investing, they think, oh, I'm going to become an angel and I'm going to, put money in some cool little startup. But there are other ways. There are many different vehicles for doing so. We'll talk through them. And we'll also, right from the start, have you start to draft out what is your own personal investment thesis? What kinds of companies, what stages of companies, which industries, how are you going to be thinking about creating your own sort of philosophy and your own guidelines for making decisions in this space? And then we'll revisit that over the course of the course, the 9 weeks, to have you refine that. Then we'll dive down into the details of the investment process. What are all the things that happen to find the right companies, to evaluate them, to actually make the investment? We'll talk about all the fine print. We have an amazing co-instructor joining me to talk about the details of what are all these legalese. There's so many documents and there's so many terms and it sounds like a foreign language. It's not that complicated. And Julia Vax, who's a retired law firm partner who has been doing this for decades, is going to join and explain the fine print. We'll talk about how to do due diligence for a company. How much is enough? How much is absolutely necessary? How much is maybe too much to understand, and what you can and can't know about a company at different stages in its development. We'll talk about the financials, how to read financials, but also how to figure out how different decisions made by you, the investor, by the company, by other investors are going to impact your return. And we have, again, amazing faculty. It's not just going to be me talking. I have recruited just the most incredible leaders in this space. We have Sue Preston, who teaches at University of Washington and is a very experienced venture investor. She was on the board of the Angel Resource Institute. Incredible, knowledgeable person. We have Shauna Turner, who was actually the British Columbian Deputy Minister for Innovation at some point, and has also been a venture partner and an angel investor. And she's going to be talking about how venture funds operate. How do you measure their performance? There are so many, there's tens of thousands of venture funds in existence right now. And if you dabble in this space at all, you're going to start hearing from them. So how do you figure out, how do they operate? Who makes the decisions? How do you evaluate, if you want to invest with one of them, or, if you're thinking of joining one of them? So Shauna is going to take us through that. We'll talk about portfolio management after you invest. How do you stay involved with the companies? What do exits look like? And then we'll round back at the end to come back to that investment thesis and make sure that you understand for yourself what's the right way for me to participate in this space. And then partway through the course, we're going to do something really cool. So this happens a lot. I'll hear somebody say, well, my nephew's roommate had this really cool startup and it was such a great idea and he's so smart and I invested and I lost all the money. And the reason that happens is because when we meet our very first founder, whatever they're doing, they're excited about, they've got a vision. We kind of fall in love with the idea. We think the founder is really cool. And what we haven't done is we haven't seen a whole bunch of other founders. So we don't have anything to compare to. So we're going to have a session where we're going to have 4 real entrepreneurs from real startups come and pitch. We're going to have a mock pitch session. And so my hope is to inoculate the course participants to this phenomena of falling in love with the first 1 or 2 companies, to have you see a range of founders and types of companies and stages, so you can experience that process of seeing the pitch, asking the questions, and then offline looking at how would I evaluate this company and would I consider investing it? And again, sort of refining your personal investment thesis through that process.